Once known as the Temple of Karabor, all manner of creatures inhabit the walls of the Black Temple. But who are the leaders during the Burning Crusade? Who are the lieutenants in Illidan's sharehouse?
You will die in the name of Lady Vash.
Lurking in the Karabor sewers, one of the strongest Naga to have ever lived, and a formidable foe. Serving as a champion of Lady Vash, entrusted to protect the Black Temple under Illidan Stormrage's command. A strange case for a Naga, due to its sheer physical size alone, with shells and crustaceans appearing to be fused to its body. Naj'entus and Lord Slithen that reside in Nizmir are labeled as Naga Lords according to their in-game models. Naj'entus is also likely a Naga anomaly as described in the tabletop role-playing sourcebook Dark Factions. His vertebrae were also repurposed to make the Warrior Legendary Belt in Legion. Overseeing the Illidari training grounds, the Abyssal Lord Supremus boasts not only an incredible size, but visual design unique as well. An Abyssal is a more advanced infernal, infused with stronger magics, and made from sharper rocks. The color of the flames that enshroud the Abyssals may be an indicator of the type of magic used to create or empower them. Given this Abyssal burns an uneasy blue, it may be that the Shrine of Lost Souls and its arcane power was used to create and fuel Supremus. Among other loot, Supremus drops Siphon of the Nathrazim, clearly a tool of the Dreadlords. It boasts a beautiful glowing effect, a skull delicately carved into the mallet's face, and an ominous number 54 on the pommel.
Uninvited guests.
Akama has an extensive history and was a key player in the lead-up to the Burning Crusade expansion. Having aided Illidan across Outland, he was an integral ally and brought Broken Draenei to bolster the growing ranks. Not long following, Kil'jaeden appears and commands Illidan, Kael'thas and Vash to destroy the Frozen Throne in Northrend, but Akama would remain behind. As time wore on, Illidan and company had not returned to the Black Temple, and Akama watched as it fell into further corruption, made all the more painful as Akama served at the Temple of Karabor before death befell its denizens, now riddled with fell blood, twisted dark shamans and debauchery. His plans to betray Illidan only grew. Despite his stealth, Illidan's cunning was more than enough to uncover these plans. By his own request, Seer Olam was murdered by Akama to avoid questions of loyalty by Illidan. The shade of Akama is a portion sheared from Akama's soul. Egoism, vanity, greed, all embodied in this dark shadow, and bound to Illidan in servitude. Destroying the shade relinquishes Illidan's control over the Ashtongue tribe and its Broken Draenei.
I was the first, you know. For me, the wheel of death has spun many times.
Once a shaman of the Shadowmoon clan, Teron Gore would be drawn to Gul'dan, imbued and powered by demonic energies. Teron Gore also has a history with the Temple of Karabor itself. He was not only present during the raid, but personally marched the Draenei clerics outside the temple's walls and executed them all. The spirits of these clerics still wander the same area to this day. After the siege of Shahraz city, the Horde would set their sights on Orkandun, a massive Draenei mausoleum housing countless of the Draenei's dead. Facing fierce resistance, Teron Gore and the other Shadow Council warlocks would group their unholy powers, attempting to reach into another realm and draw forth a demon to aid them. They instead called Murmur into existence, whose initial arrival caused a shockwave that sundered the Tomb City, leveled the surrounding forest, and scorched the earth. During the Second War, Ogrim Doomhammer sniffed out the treachery of the Shadow Council and promptly slaughtered them all. Gul'dan would falsely submit to Doomhammer and raise the council to undeath by placing their souls into the corpse of Stormwind soldiers. He achieved this by cutting out the hearts of his necrolytes and transmuted the organs into jewels, and then affixed them to truncheons, and thus the first of them arose, Teron Gorefiend. This was only the beginning, as Gorefiend would play an integral part in the aftermath of the Second War, convincing Naz'ul to take up the mantle of War Chief, personally retrieving the Book of Medivh and the Eye of Dalaran, riding Deathwing as a mount. Just a total baller from start to finish. Even in his death at the hand of Torellian, the Alliance's commander and one of the Knights of the Silver Hand, Gorefiend would still live on as a ghost, deceiving the player into collecting his truncheon, cloak and armor and delivering it right into his hands. He marches to the Black Temple and takes up residence there, commanding a league of Shadowmoon orcs from the wing known as Gorefiend's Vigil.
Pain and suffering are all that await you.
During the Council of the Black Harvest quest, where warlocks can obtain their green flame, your companions reflect that the Shrine of Lost Souls is an untapped store of raw arcane energy, not unlike the Well of Eternity on Azeroth. When Illidan invaded Outland, he had one remaining vial containing water from the Well of Eternity. While unconfirmed, it is likely Illidan used the final vial to power the Shrine of Lost Souls and help dampen the effects of his allies' magical addiction.
Horde will crush you.
Nothing exemplifies the pinnacle of overfeeding on demonic blood more than Gurtogg Bloodboil. After the Second War, the orcs still on Draenor were subjugated by Magtheridon and the Burning Legion, but when Illidan overthrew the Pit Lord, the orcs pledged their allegiance to the new leader of Outland. While hulking dire orcs were typically created by the blood rituals of the Bleeding Hollow clan, the Bone Chewer clan seems to have their own methods. Though not as bulky as Gurtogg, the Bone Chewer behemoths are absolute monsters in their own right, in stature and their lust for carnage and bloodshed.
So, business or pleasure?
Atop the den of mortal delights, amongst the succubus and concubines, resides Mother Shahraz. The Shivara are a demonic species that are especially charismatic and domineering, not dissimilar to a succubus. She is armed with magics of temptation and destruction, as well as physical weapons.
Common. Such a crude language. Bandal!
The Illidari Council were amongst the most exceptional under Kael'thar Sunstrider's command. They were appointed to Illidan at the Black Temple as he became increasingly single-minded in his plots against the Burning Legion. This would prove to be most crucial, though they often schemed against one another. The council members organized much of the defense of the Black Temple, and each possessed unique skills, making them truly formidable. Gathios, the Shatterer,
I have better things to do.
a paladin gifted in the art of war and logistics. Veras Darkshadow,
You wish to test me?
the group's rogue, an expert at poisons and espionage, who is strangely wearing the Warlock's regalia, which I guess is part of his ruse. Lady Meland,
Flee or die.
able to call the light to aid or destroy friends and foe alike, as well as upholding the relations with Illidan's other servitors, and High Nethermancer Zerevor,
Shorel Oran.
a master of fire, frost, and the arcane, an exceptionally powerful party and Illidan's last line of defense.
You are not prepared.
A man of many titles, the Betrayer, the Lord of Outland, the Master of the Illidari. Illidan has far too much lore to cover in this video alone, but the cliff notes leading up to this fight are as follows. In Warcraft 3, Illidan Stormrage and Tyrande Whisperwind free Illidan from his prison after having served 10,000 years in order to help combat the Burning Legion. After consuming the Skull of Gul'dan to gain its power, the Demon Hunter is outcast once again by his brother Malfurion. Illidan is then tasked by Kil'jaeden to destroy the Lich King and his frozen throne. Illidan summons the Naga from the ocean's depths to aid him, including Lady Vaj. Afterward, they would assist and enlist Kael'thas Sunstrider and his Blood Elves, as well as Akama and the Broken Draenei. Having defeated Magtheridon, Illidan and his allies travel to Northrend to destroy the Death Knight Arthas before he can reach the Frozen Throne. Despite their amassed armies, their combined efforts are not enough to thwart the undead scourge. Illidan is defeated and returns to the Black Temple to lick his wounds and brood. His ultimate plan is to destroy the Legion by any means necessary, but keeping so much of his plan in secrecy was ultimately his undoing. We, the adventurers, arrive on Outland and encounter Magtheridon and an army of Fel Orcs. Vaj and her Naga are subjugating the Ash-Tongue Draenei by hoarding the water of Zangarmarsh. Kael'thas is serving the Burning Legion directly. The Black Temple is filled with all sorts of orcs and demons. Plus, Maiev and Akama are both informing us of how bad the situation has become. I hope this video helped to give a little insight as to why we raid the Black Temple. Not all bosses are given the same treatment and luxury to endless volumes of lore, which I think in some cases is a missed opportunity, but it does leave the imagination open to speculate. I'd like to thank you for watching, liking and subscribing, and I'd like to thank my patrons for their continued support.